Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to today's session. I'm Jason Jumper from MSDynamicsWorld.com, and today's event is a Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations and Dynamics AX Solutions Showcase. I am really excited to be moderating this format. I think it's an interesting and hopefully a productive way to learn a little about a lot of great solutions and vendors who work in the Microsoft Dynamics ecosystem. Today's event is going to be fast-paced. There's going to be a lot of information to take in, and there will also be time for your questions at the end. So I'm going to try to move through my part here as quickly as I can, and we can get into it. I've already explained a little of the format, but just to introduce it a little more, we have 5 presenters today. Each of them will have 10 short minutes to tell you about their businesses and their offerings, and then we will be saving a few minutes at the end for Q&A. Here are our presenters representing Metaviewer, Data Masons, K-ecommerce, PowerObjects, and EBridge Connections. You can ask questions as we go. Look for the Q&A block just to the right of the main presentation window. If you don't see Q&A, look to the upper right of WebEx, and you should see a little question mark icon that will enable Q&A for you. We will be saving all of those questions and getting to as many as we possibly can at the end. So without any further delay, we are going to kick things off. Our first presenter today is Doug Bertram of Metaviewer, and I am a Metafile Information Systems, and I'm going to give Doug control so that we can get things started. So Doug, welcome. You should have control.
Yep, great. Thanks, Jason. Welcome, everyone. Let me quickly share my screen here, and we will get going. There we go. Perfect. So welcome, everyone. We're excited to be a part of the solution showcase today. My name, as Jason said, my name is Doug Bertram. I'm one of the regional managers for a company called Metafile. We are best known for our Metaviewer document management system, and as the title suggests on today's presentation, we are a Microsoft Dynamics partner, very tightly integrated with AX and D365. Our solution that we're best known for is our AP automation solution, which I'm going to kind of give you an overview of that today, and then kind of briefly talk about a few of the other solutions that we offer with our solution. So as a Microsoft partner, we are very tightly integrated. We are certified, and we are on AppSource for those applications. So if you have any other questions following today's webinar, you can always shoot us an email at info@metafile.com, or would you like to set up a more in-depth dive with the solution tied with D365 and show you exactly what the solutions can provide, you can shoot us an email at info@metafile.com. But as an overview, everything centers around Metaviewer as a document management, content management, imaging type of solution, and it really is an enterprise-wide solution. We have clients that use it for contracts, HR, AR, order processing, all kinds of different approaches. But like I said, probably our most popular solution is our AP automation or invoice processing solution. And if we take the Metaviewer solution and apply it to the challenges of processing invoices in your organization, it starts by capturing the documents as soon as they come into the organization, whether they be paper or electronic. And it's really this electronic side that we try to focus on, in that we can set Metaviewer up to watch one or multiple email boxes. And then when the documents come into that email box, we're going to automatically pull them in, preventing the paper from ever happening, but more importantly, preserving the textual information that those documents contain. We pull them in, they go into a tool that we developed called Invoice Accelerator that will intelligently read that document like a human can to extract the data. We use the data to index or identify what that transaction is all about, but ultimately we're going to use some web services to actually create that transaction up in your AX or D365 solution as well. So really, that's your ideal solution, because nobody's opening up mail, nobody's scanning anything in. Everything comes in, we pull it, we extract the data, we workflow it as appropriate, and push and create the transactions into your dynamic system. We also realize that it may not be feasible to get everything in electronic format, so we can work with paper documents as well. Using a scanner or multifunctional copier device of your choosing, you can scan documents into the system as well. If you do scan a document, though, it is just a picture. There is no text for us to extract, and that's why in my diagram here we have this extra box that says scanning OCR. If we pull a document in and we can't find any text, we run it through a second or two process that looks at that document, and basically what it does is it looks at all the dots on their page, or all the pixels, if you will, and any dots that are touching each other, it says this is a 1 or a 6 or a G, essentially converting that picture back into text. Once that happens, it goes into that same tool, that Invoice Accelerator tool, that's going to intelligently read that document and extract the data and deliver that document into workflow. Our electronic documents, they do not require that OCR. They go right into Invoice Accelerator because they already have text, whereas the paper documents, we use that extra step to convert it back into text and then feeding in that tool. From a workflow perspective, the system is very flexible to adjust to your business processes. Historically, when we would implement a solution, we'd spend 3-4 days consulting with the client to figure out what they wanted the solution to do. Since AP automation was such a very hot area for us, we developed what we call our fast track solution, which is kind of a best practices approach to AP. It helps us get the system up and running a lot quicker. And in that solution, we've actually developed 2 broad workflows, one dealing with non-purchase order related invoices and one dealing with purchase order related invoices. The non-PO workflow interacts with your dynamic system, but captures the documents. They get routed around for approvals. If we interact with your dynamic system to pull back defaults from the vendor records. Are they a 1099 vendor? What is the default coding that you have set up associated with that vendor? We do terms and calculate due dates and discount amounts and discount dates and all those types of things by interacting directly with that system. Non-purchase order related invoices, they typically get coded. We actually talk to the rules that are in your dynamic system, so we have access to the chart of accounts and all the rules so that we can only enter valid combinations for those approvals and codings. Once all that's been done, we're going to use that web service to push and create the transaction in Dynamics, so now you don't have to key that information in. And then we link back to that document in the system as well. Purchase order related invoices, they typically don't get routed around for approval and coding. They actually could, but most organizations want us to interact with your dynamic system to match that invoice to what's either open or what's received against that purchase order in the system. Once that happens and it's been fully reconciled, we're going to push and create the transaction up there as well. So the data validation is, interacting with the vendor cards and the chart of accounts and the PO tables, but it's also, we do duplicate checks throughout several parts of the workflow. If something got flagged as a duplicate in Dynamics or in our own system, we would actually flag it and put it in an exception queue. So we have various exception queues to help people automate the process in that workflow and making sure everything is flowing through the system in a timely fashion, and you only really need to look at any of the exceptions that happen and deal with those. The third element of the solution is really just that retrieval aspect. Advantage for us is there's no software to load on anybody's workstation. We use a standard internet browser as a tool to talk to the Metaviewer system, whether you choose to implement Metaviewer in your facility, in Azure, or we actually have our own data center that we could host your Metaviewer application. But in any of those cases, it's still that standard internet browser that's going to talk to your dynamic system to participate in our workflows and retrieve documents. The nice thing is you do not, for those approvers and those people using our system through that browser interface, there are no additional Dynamics licenses that are required. Everything works through our standard internet browser. That browser is mobile friendly, so if you logged in with a smaller device like a phone or a tablet, I don't have as much screen real estate on that smaller device, so the system is going to recognize that I'm on this little device, and it's going to adjust the view so that you can see all the same information. We just present it in a little bit different format that you can see all the same information, and then you can use the gestures that you're used to, like pinching and zooming and swiping and all those kinds of things. And then the other aspect of retrieval, we do have a button application that installs an AX or D365 so that you'll have an extra menu item on your D365 screens and your AX screens that say Metaviewer. And you click that, you say, I want to see the Metaviewer invoice, and it feeds us data from that screen and then links the document and pops that document up in a browser side by side with your D365 or AX screens to be able to see all that documents and data. And that's really important because as that document flows through workflow, we're tracking audit trails on who approved it, who coded it, do they put notes on that document, and you see all that information right there with that document. So that's kind of what I call the big picture of our most popular AP automation solution. Other aspects how Metavere can get used across the enterprise. We kind of talked about these a little bit at the beginning, but accounts receivable, order processing, customer service, kinds of searches, HR, legal, contracts, all kinds of different avenues that we can expand the solution and leverage that investment in that technology. Auditor searching, check batch approvals, expense report workflows, packing slip receiving, all kinds of different things, as you can see there on the screen, that we can interact with your Dynamics system and capture those different types of documents and make those available to clients. So I think that's mostly what I wanted to cover. We were kind of very limited on the timing, and I think at the end, Jason will actually have some of everyone's emails back up there. But as I said, that info@metafile.com is a great way to contact us and schedule a one-on-one webinar where we can actually show you a live product and then kind of talk about your specific needs. Jason, I think back to you.
Great, thank you, Doug. And you're right, we will have that contact information back up at the end. I would just note also, if you want us to help you follow up with anyone, just send me a chat, and we can definitely make that connection afterwards as well. So I am going to now pass control to our next presenter, Dennis Bruce of Data Masons.
Thanks, Jason. I take it you can hear me, correct?
Yep, we hear you. We see your screen.
All right, perfect. So thank you very much. Today I want to talk about our EDI solution, which is Vantage Point EDI for Dynamics 365 or AX. So this is a little solution overview here. If you follow on the left-hand side of the screen, you will see your supply chain. So everybody that you deal with from a business perspective, customers, partners, suppliers, third-party logistics providers, carriers, all these types of people are in your supply chain. All of them support EDI, okay? And we can set up Vantage Point to be able to take documents, whatever format those documents are in. Doesn't just have to be an EDI format. Could be XML, could be CSV, ASCII formatted documents, whatever that they want to send back and forth to you. We can take that document, again, through whatever communication method that they support, bring that into Vantage Point, which sits between you, your supply chain, and your Microsoft Dynamics AX or D365 ERP. And we'll handle all the data before we send it over, okay? So we'll make sure all the craziness that happens in the world of EDI happens within our application first, and then we'll normalize and standardize that data before we send it back and forth to the Dynamics platform. From a D365 perspective, we take advantage of the RESTful web services, OData endpoints, using data entities that either Microsoft has created or maybe we have created to enhance what's been out there. From a AX perspective, we'll use the AIF, Application Integration Framework, from an inbound perspective, and then SQL views from an outbound perspective. That's how we get data. So we'll sit between yourselves and your supply chain and pass data back and forth, making sure that it can create proper things within AX or D365 and that your trading partners get the exact formatted documents that they're looking for. Okay? That's kind of an overview of what the solution looks like from the standpoint of why EDI made simple, makes sense for the Dynamics community. First of all, we do not customize D365 or the AX platform. If you think about it, when dealing with a trading partner, they make all sorts of requirements of you. If you don't have, you'll never stop customizing the ERP platform to adhere to everything that they do. That's why we take care of all that before that data goes back and forth. And that way you can take advantage of all the new versions and updates that are coming across from an AX and D365 perspective without worrying about, hey, how's that going to affect my EDI solution? It's a simple configuration process for all the trading partners. We don't charge document fees, so we can take advantage of the most cost-effective manner to send documents back and forth to your trading partners. We can migrate to other platforms, so we're certified for D365, AX, NAV, GP. So if you're going to go from one to the other, we can actually take it and move it over in an easier process. We have full automation. We're going to talk a little about that in a minute. Full automation for your entire EDI transactions. That means we can process everything and put you into true management by by exception mode by not having you touch the application. Okay, full support, 24/5. We've got 72 integrations that we support for the ERP. Managed services, we can actually become your EDI coordinator internally, run the application, work with the trading partners directly, take you out of EDI if you don't want to have to deal with it, if it's not considered a core competency. Okay, and then more importantly, and I think, or I should say just as importantly, with people on staff that not only have D365 and AX experience, but also industry experience. And those industry experience comes in handy when dealing with whether you're in automotive or consumer packaged goods or medical devices or pharma or something like that. So I wanted to kind of just show you real quick in the application itself. This is Vantage Point. The application, if you're in it, as you can see, you can get alerts of what's happening. You have graphs and KPIs that you can work from. You can set up a dashboard. You can set up, we go by processes, so quote to cash or order to cash. You can follow the process through, procure to pay. We have all the steps to walk you through each of this, but if we do our job correctly, you'll never be in this screen. And the reason for that is because, as I had mentioned before, we can set this up and have this run in a fully automated fashion. And to do that, we would initiate this first, which is our workflow scheduler. So those workflows mimic all your processes. So for instance, here we see the PO workflow for inbound. So if you want to process a PO, here's the task that would happen. We'd download it from the network. We'd send that PO to Dynamics 365. And in this case, we'd create an SSRS report that we can send to anybody in your organization. This workflow can run at any time. So if you see here, we can schedule it to run at every minute if we choose. Okay, so once you have this set up, then you can just have everything flowing in and out of D365 or AX. And then the other part is when you, on a day-to-day perspective, when you're working, you want to be able to stay in the AX or the D365 environment. So to do that, of course now I can't get D365 up. So as it comes up, you will see from a day-to-day perspective when processing the transactions, all you have to do is stay in D365 or the AX environment. So and the way to do that is, oops, let me go back. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. So if we go to sales orders and we come into, and this is D365, so I'll take one of these transactions. So this is a sales order that was created. So if we go into here, we'll launch, what you can see here is the TLE. So if you're transacting on a day-to-day basis and you process EDI, all you have to do is click on that button and the browser will open up and show you the life cycle of this transaction. So you can see, for instance, here was my PO from Target. There's the corresponding purchase order acknowledgement. Here's the ASN that went off of it. And then here's the invoice. It's the full life cycle of this transaction. I can look at the data if I wanted to. I could see it in a report format here. And you can see the elements and the segments that match up with the data. If I wanted to go back and I wanted to see if I got my functional acknowledgement, my 997, here you go. I can see that it came in. I could even look at the raw data if I wanted to, if I understood what that meant, okay? So this way, you don't have to leave AX or 365 to actually transact, okay? You don't have to go into Vantage Point. Once you have it set up, you can run it, again, in a fully automated fashion, have the workflow go through, and then you can look at your transactions and deal with them just within your browser here. So you never have to go out of AX unless there's some sort of exception that you have to deal with, okay? Just real quickly, we talked about industries. So some of the main industries that we support, both from a functionality perspective, a transaction perspective, and a personnel perspective, consumer packaged goods, which EDI is huge in, And we'll do strong there. We have labeling, strong solution for drop ships, third-party logistics support, Amazon, whether it's FBA or just Amazon warehouse. The Magento and Shopify integration, we can do that. Food companies, direct store delivery, vendor managed inventory, substitution brokers. We do CHEP 856 support, iTrade support. One of the other ones, automotive industrial equipment, releases and forecasting. Nobody talks POs and invoices in automotive. It's releases and forecasting, and that's what we support. Humans management, line sequencing, labeling, and then pharma, you can see pedigree reporting, chargeback handling. So it's a lot of information for the amount of time, but if you have some additional questions, we'll have them at the end. You can reach back out to us. A little about Data Masons. We are ISV. We support all. We're actually certified for all the ERP products on the Dynamics side, including D365 and AX that we're talking about today. Customers worldwide, support worldwide, offices in Amsterdam, the U.S., and in Australia. And that's it, Jason.
All right, thank you, Dennis, and boy, great time management from the first two presenters. We're going to now move on to our next presenter, Ryan Burnham of K-ecommerce. And Ryan, I'm going to get you presenter privileges.
All right, should be able to see my screen here.
We do.
All right. So thank you, Jason. I wanted to thank MS Dynamics World for having us on. So with K-ecommerce, what we do is we are basically an e-commerce solution that integrates to Microsoft Dynamics AX back from AX 2009 through 2012. We support both versions. And we also do support Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. We're on AppSource, so you can find us there. So what I want to take us through today is a really quick demo of how it would look from your customer's perspective to be doing business with you online. So if you do sell a product, you sell a service, if today you're doing that by email, by phone, well, you can also do it by a website, by doing it with an e-commerce that's integrated and connected to Microsoft Dynamics AX or D365 so that you're leveraging all the information, all of the management that you're doing in the ERP, and then from there, cutting down on the cost of having to enter orders in manually, having the lack of human error as well, so you don't have to have your salespeople typing in orders and potentially making mistakes, and then also saving on the post-sale service, so customers calling you up to find out where orders are, for tracking information, those types of questions that I'm sure you get on an ongoing basis. So this site here is connected to Dynamics 365. Obviously, it's a pretty plain-looking site. I just wanted to jump over to a couple of customer sites so we can push it. We can really make the sites look any way you want them to look, so it really does reflect your brand with your customers. And then from there, something a little less retail, a little bit more business here with Mid-Continent. So I mentioned that because we can do retail sites and we can also do wholesale or distribution sites, so B2B or B2C. It's entirely up to you. It's entirely up to the way that you do business with your customers. So in my case here, this is a B2B site. So my customers have to actually log in order to actually view anything on the website. So when I do log in, I like to personalize the experience for the end user because I have their information in Dynamics. So I can pull up their customer information, all of their order tracking or all their order history from as far back into the accounting history as we want to go. So that's why I'm seeing my orders all here. These are the last 5 chronologically, and they're not just the ones that were entered on the website. And I'm also seeing the products that I've ordered on a fairly regular basis. So when we think about a wholesale or a distribution type customer, someone who orders from you fairly often and they know what they want to order, they don't want to waste any time having to navigate the website. Well, we give them areas like the frequently ordered products section where they can jump right in and order very quickly, very conveniently, just with a couple of clicks rather than navigating the entire website. So this gives us the ability to just quickly show them, in my case, 5 products that they've ordered over the last 30 days, but I can expand on this list as well. I can show as many products as I want to. If they're one of those customers that, generally just knows what they want to order, then they can, go through the frequently ordered products. They can also go through a quick order tool that allows them to enter in SKUs and quantities. From there, if I do go and have a look at any one of the products on the site, then I can have additional information that's provided to me. So again, when I talked about managing additional information in AX or in D365, well, we can pull all that information to the website so that customers can see everything they need to make that informed buying decision. So in that case here with this product, I'm already managing everything from my title, my item number, all of my pricing, and this is pricing that's specific to D365 and Dynamics AX. So customer-specific pricing or trade agreements, all of that will pull through to the website, and it'll base itself off of if the customer has a price with you and whether they should be seeing this product at all. So you can also differentiate what products are viewed from one customer to the next. You can also show inventory, breakdown per warehouse. You can show exactly how much you have in stock so customers can see all this information at their fingertips without having to pick up the phone and call a salesperson. So they can go ahead and they can just make that purchase on their own. And then I've added additional information like images, long descriptions. I've added all these technical specifications as well to my products. So again, giving all of the information that the customer might need to them on the website so they can come in here and they can consult it on their own. When I'm ready to go, I can just add it to cart and I'll come over to the checkout page. And what's great here, again, because of our integration to Dynamics, we have all their information already. So all of their billing information coming right off of their account is going to be here in a more B2B type scenario. When we're talking retail or B2C, they can enter in their account information on their own. And then from there, if they have additional shipping addresses on their account in Dynamics, they'll pull through so they can always ship to another location in the country if they don't want to ship it to their headquarters. And then you can work with companies like FedEx, UPS, USPS. You can do pickups as well, and you can also set up your own shipping costs or your shipping rates right on the website. So the customers can have a good idea of what it's going to cost through estimate tools that we have with the different carriers so that they can see how much it's going to cost to get it out to them. And then from there as well, you can capture additional information from the customer, so things like a PO number, shipping instructions, required date. So I'm just going to put today's date in. And then we have our review of our order. So pretty simple. I'm only adding one product, but if I've got hundreds of products, they'll all be here. I can see my shipping costs. Taxes can be pulled in from Dynamics 365 or Dynamics AX. So all that information, all the configurations that you're setting up in Dynamics will pull through to the website. Then we can set up coupons if we want to. If you don't want to use them, you can turn them off and they'll disappear altogether. And then for payments, something that's really important here, obviously for those customers who have terms with you, you can take terms with them, invoice them later. But if you do want to take any credit card payments on the website, K-ecommerce is fully payment card industry or PCI level 1 certified. So that means that we take on all of the security liability for capturing payment information from the customer and pushing that over to the payment gateway that you want to work with. We work with about 11 of them right now. And then from there, what you can do is you can capture the order, and the order will go across to Microsoft Dynamics. So if you've done any ordering online, which most people have, you receive an email to let you know the order's gone through. So the customer will receive that. Yourself as well, within the business, you can receive that email to let you know. But by the time that email hits your inbox, it's already in Dynamics ready to go. So you can already start the fulfillment, the shipping process on your end, so you can get it out to them in a timely manner. For the customers, like I said, they can always come back and see order history. So they can go back as far into the accounting history as you want them to go. They can see invoices as well. So it's all information that's available to them at their fingertips. So if you do ship an order out and you add tracking information to the packing slip in Dynamics, then they will see that information. They'll even get an email to let them know, hey, it went out by FedEx. Here's your tracking number. They don't have to pick up the phone and call you to get that information. So I'll just jump over quickly now, back office, as one of our administrators. So if I was going into E365 here and I wanted to have a look at the orders, well, my order number 1038 is going to be the order that I just created for my high-end speaker with my reference number May 31st. So this is exactly the order that I just created. Within seconds, it's in D365. Same thing goes for Microsoft Dynamics AX. All the information will be pushed across for you, so you don't have to worry about maintaining that information or taking it on and doing it manually. So it eliminates a lot of the costs there. And of course, this is an e-commerce site. It does give us the ability to transact with our customers, but there is a whole content management system in the background that doesn't take a technical background to work on. So you can go in and you can add all the additional information that you want to the site to really provide the brand experience that you want to your customers using the tools that you get with the K-ecommerce solution. So you get the website as well as the connection to Microsoft Dynamics, so that integration to Microsoft Dynamics, all in one package, all with one vendor. And with our integration, we're not embedding inside the ERP. So you're never relying on the ERP to provide us with all the resources that we need to run the website. And K-ecommerce does host about 99% of our websites on our own, so you don't have to worry about taking this on internally either, but we do have that option if you need to. So that's a really quick overview. We can always go into more with you at any time. So I know Jason will be showing the email address at the end, but it's marketing@kecommerce.com. We're more than happy to go through that with you at any point. I really want to thank everyone for your time today, and thank you again to MS Dynamics World for inviting us.
Great, thank you, Ryan. And I am now going to move us along to our next presenter, and that is Ian Wilson from PowerObjects. Ian, you should now have control.
Thank you, everybody. Ian Wilson here from PowerObjects. Just a very quick introduction to PowerObjects. We're a global systems integrator exclusively supporting Dynamics 365 clients. I work within the UK property management team supporting enterprise transformation, utilizing the Power Property Design Suite. Going over Power Property, really what we're showing you here is the fundamentals that you've got standard Dynamics 365. A lot of our clients are utilizing customer engagement, sales and marketing. On the finance operations side, they've either got supply chain, manufacturing, as well as what you'd expect from the financial management suite, so general ledger, accounts payable, etc. And then what we've done is for the clients going through property management transformation, they've got either legacy systems or a myriad of systems that are outside of that enterprise solution. We purpose-built, that we'll show in a minute, property management, enterprise asset management, enterprise contract management, and property development modules that sit on top of this capability and leverage it out. Where we're doing implementation services very quickly, you'll see there on the left-hand side the various channels that their clients are using Dynamics 365 customer engagement and finance operations, and then those advanced modules of asset management or property management or contract management within procurement, really tailored to clients, those specific requirements around property management on how to manage the property life cycle, tenancy life cycle, understand property financials, and how to tender contracts around the property cycle. If I then go into the system, this is Dynamics 365 Finance Operations. We have a number of these modules are in place. If I go to the Property Management module, you'll see here that there's a suite here that allows you to understand tenancy agreements, agreement management, property management. If I wanted to go in and understand how many void properties do I have as an organization, or are all these voids due to return, maybe they're getting refurbished. All that information, all the data is sitting there underneath the void. If I go into various different ways to say, I want to look at my property hierarchies, so where you're a large property developer and you have large significant estates, you will then need to see, I might have certain blocks or floors or roads, and this structure is quite flexible. You'll be able to go into the hierarchy through different ways. If I then wanted to go into the unit details, if I wanted to drill down into a particular property, I can start looking through it. You can see here there's various different ways to search for these properties. If I go to property ID, because I know what I'm looking for, these 4 particular flats within this estate are available. I'll click in through there, and then you'll see purpose-built forms relating to this property. So in this particular property, it'll give you the various information that you need there, unit details, what the current status is, a snapshot of the customer balance, and all the tenancy agreements are linked to a customer ID, which shows what the funding is, what the various property charges are, so if it's rent or if it's service charges or different estate charges coming to this particular tenant. If the landlord or property development has done various valuations, is there any unit specifications, what the prior history of tenancy agreements that are on this particular property, who is the active one. I can then go into the particular tenancy if I wanted to. Any particular attributes, so in this particular example we're showing no pets, but one of the real key differentiators is the ability to have your fixed assets or how you depreciate assets sitting within your property and utilizing other areas of Dynamics 365. So I can show here these particular assets have got a net book value, they've got their own, they're leveraging the fixed asset functionality, what the remaining life cycle is, as well as later showing shared fixed assets. So not all of them are linked to this particular unit. Some will be like a roof or a lift that are shared between tenants. And what's more important is that these assets need to be serviced. So we have something called a unit object that shows if I then have a bathroom, it needs to be potentially inspected each year, or a boiler or a gas survey needs to happen every 6 months. Within the asset management module that we'll show you in a minute, we'll then be able to go in there and see the planned maintenance on these particular properties. But one of the great things also is that the financial transactions of all these properties sits underneath what the standard project module, project accounting module sits there. So if I want to look at unit level transactions, so for large property development owners or landlords who want to start understanding what is the profit and loss on particular units, I can then drill into each of these projects, sits underneath the unit, and start understanding the payments as well as the maintenance and investment that's going into those particular properties. If I then take you out of the property management module and then move into enterprise asset management, I showed you those serviceable asset objects. You can see here now that all these serviceable asset objects are related to a location on the property portfolio. Those objects will be at a certain stage, and then what we can show here is how many of those serviceable asset objects have got requests coming in from tenants or active work orders where it's either subcontracted or your internal technical teams are going out there to service those assets or fix them as needed. If we then go back and have a look at the planned maintenance schedule, this is what we're saying. Organizations need to know over a long period of time, whether it's 2, 5, 10 years, exactly how much does it cost them as an organization to service those individual units. So what we're showing here is that you have expected time, and there'll be certain jobs that need certifications, certain costs or certain criteria or exit certifications in order to complete these jobs, and they'll have then a costing that sits underneath it. If I then want to understand what that costing is, I can then go to cost control. You can search on a particular unit. I'll just give you a look and feel of how it looks at a global point of view. But what it shows you is that all these work orders are predetermined as what the costing is of a particular work order, whether it was timesheet or expenses or travel or connection to inventory, demand and reserves. You'll then be able to see what, through project budgeting, what the original budget was for that maintenance on that property, what the actual cost was, was it preventative, as in it was planned maintenance, or was it corrective maintenance, as well as what the committed budget it was. So if I then take you to the next step, which is the enterprise contract management module, contract management is a significant key part of property management. So what we have here is supplier contracts, or whether you're working with suppliers for bids or invitation to tenders, or you're certifying your suppliers, all very important. If I go to the supplier contract page, you can see here there's a multitude of different contracts. And the key important thing for properties then is, if I pick a sample, is the ability then to have due diligence and a supplier process on how you onboard these contracts and go through your legal and audit. Key thing then is for how are you consuming these contracts, what the current contract value is, what's particularly being invoiced, and are you revising that contract value. You can have frameworks or joint ventures on properties where you've got multiple construction companies working on that property management. So you may have a framework where there's additional suppliers. They may only be eligible to provide certain services or inventory. And more importantly, they may work on different properties. So they might work on a number of estates, and you need a property contract that relates to 3 or 4 different estates. You want to be able to have that information budgeted and controlled in the same way. If I then go to standard dynamics, looking at how many purchase orders are committed related to this particular contract, you'll then have the advanced contract management module leverage on top of that property management. If I then move to the other module that's in play, which is the property development module, this is where property management companies can look at what are the opportunities they're looking at in terms of acquiring land or property opportunities, and they also go through various opportunity processes that they want to be able to do due diligence before they do an appraisal and commit to those particular properties. If we look at the schemes, which could be the various different estates, or if you want to start doing business modeling, you'll then be able to go in and do financial appraisals on these particular properties or understand what the net present value is. If I wanted to go to the side here and show property performance once we've made purchases on these areas, I can start showing trends such as what the annual revenue is, forecasted revenue, how empty or void do I believe these, on various assumptions, forecasted void, net cash inflows, and then I'll be able to start showing what particular properties in the portfolio are actually showing that profitable, or what needs to be, investigated further because that particular property is needing further investment in order to be profitable. So these are key concepts within the Power Property Design Fundamentals, but the real message is for our enterprise transformation clients that are leveraging, Dynamics AX or Dynamics CRM or Dynamics 365. We're leveraging that Power Property Fundamentals on top of standard Dynamics 365. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you very much, Ian. And next we have Lindsay Hampson of EBridge. And Lindsay, I'm going to pass control to you now.
Great, thanks. All right, can you see?
We do see your screen.
Perfect. So the woman in this picture is two things. She's angry and she's an Everlast boxing glove customer. So I've been trying to guess why she's mad, and I bet you are too. But really, my story for the next 10 minutes is not going to be about why she's angry, but it's about those boxing gloves. So before I go on about the story, my name is Lindsay Hampson. I'm from eBridge Connections. I am the product marketing manager here, and we've been around for about 25 years. We do EDI integration, e-commerce integration, CRM integration, all back to world-class ERPs like Microsoft Dynamics. And there are 60 of us in this one building here in our headquarters, and Everlast is our customer. So let's get to it. So for whatever reason, this lady is feisty, and she needed a pair of Everlast boxing gloves. So to buy them, she might have gone to the mall, or maybe she went to an outlet. Maybe she went to Target, Costco. Maybe she went to this Everlast store in the mall. Maybe she opened her cell phone, her smartphone, and she clicked on her Amazon app. Maybe she's a Prime member. Maybe she went onto her husband's computer and opened up Amazon to buy those gloves. Or maybe she went to their website, Everlast's website. Maybe she's in the UK, she's in Canada, she's in the US, and she picked her gloves. Really, the gist of what I'm trying to get at is that these days, your customers buy from multiple sales channels. It's not just e-commerce or in-store anymore. It's just multi-channel. We don't know where she's going to buy it, but we want to be there when she's ready. So she bought these where it was most convenient for her, and the order was made. So why am I telling this story? Well, when you really think about it, there's a picture of Everlast's headquarters in New York City, and they use Microsoft Dynamics ERP, and they're our customer. And they have multiple channels. They have a Magento store. They sell on Amazon, and you can imagine all the Everlast stores across the world that are like physical brick and mortar. So the big question is, how does the data from all of those locations, all happening simultaneously, how does it get back to Microsoft Dynamics? And that's where eBridge comes in. And also, let's talk about shipping data, let's talk about tracking data, inventory adjustments, product data, customer data, invoices, POs, ASNs for EDI. I mean, you can imagine that the list goes on, and it's all happening in real time. So the reason I'm here with you is to tell you that eBridge Connections, we help Microsoft Dynamics customers 365, AX, GP, SL, and NAV. We help them all do EDI, e-commerce, marketplace, platform integrations, and we like to think we do it pretty well. So here we are in the middle. Again, we've been around for about 25 years, and just in the last year, we've released a brand new platform. We took all of the knowledge that we had over the last 25 years, all of our mapping knowledge and our technology knowledge, again, in conjunction with the lessons we've learned with having big customers like Everlast. And we created this purpose-built for the cloud integration platform. And it connects to on-prem systems, also SaaS systems, EDI, e-commerce, anything that you can throw at us, we're ready to catch. So anything like Square or Returnly, any new API application that your company might end up using, you could connect data through the eBridge platform back to the head office. So this is a little more about it. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but I do want to show that we also do definitely integrate 3PL, shipping software such as FedEx, ShipStation. We do EDI, we do CRM like Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics CRM. And the coolest thing is that we're hosted on Microsoft Azure. So we have bought in, we're all in for Microsoft. We actually had the Microsoft 365 product team in our office last week, and we did a company-wide training on 365. So we really we're under the covers on 365. So the integration with eBridge is not one-to-one maps, but rather it's customers accessing these pre-built connectors and then using our integration platform to push and pull data back to their Microsoft Dynamics ERP from any of those applications that they're using today. And the highlights here. We are a gold partner. We are certified in Microsoft Dynamics. We have a listing on AppSource. I think that's something that all 5 of the presenters today have in common. We also do all of those logos there in the bottom left corner and more. Some of our customers actually trade with, I'd say, 70 or 80 trading partners through EDI, and they also have an Amazon store and a Shopify store and potentially even an eBay store. And then the thing that I'm most proud of in product marketing is those customers that we have. We really have a great list of customers that trust us with the lifeblood of their business. And I know I'm short for time, so I'm going to do the world's shortest demonstration of EI Cloud. EBridge Integration Cloud is what eBridge calls their integration platform. So the cool news is it's web-based, so you can log in from anywhere if you're a customer of eBridge. So I could log in from anywhere, any time of the day. And when I log in, I'm pretending to be a customer here using 365. And you can see right there all of my sales channels that I use today. So in this instance, somebody is connecting to their Amazon store. They have a few e-commerce platforms and stores. And then in this case, they have one EDI trading partner, Costco. Again, I mentioned that some of our customers have 60 or 70 trading partners. So let's pretend I clicked on WooCommerce. I clicked on that little box there. It opened up WooCommerce, and now I can see all of the data flows or the workflows that we have automated for through eBridge for our customers. So order information in real time flows back to Microsoft Dynamics ERP. Inventory updates through all of the channels that I sell in, that inventory will always be right. And also product catalog in this example. And the last thing I want to show you is this is the dashboard that we hope our customers don't need to be in. So similar to a few other presentations, this is one of those things where you set it up with eBridge and then you can forget it. So this is not a tool you need to be in all the time. Once we hook up your EDI or your e-commerce platforms and we're flowing data back and forth, we're using our predetermined business rules and translations. You can literally just come in here if you have a question or an issue or you need to reprint something or reprocess something. There's always a nice friendly sort of status check mark that something went through. If you see an X, then you can click on the X and find out what went wrong and reprocess. So everything's here. The last thing I'm going to mention quickly is if your warehouse team wants to see a particular view, they can have a different login. Your marketing team, if they only care about your Shopify site, let's say, and orders from it, they can log in and have a different view as well. So we're all about being configurable here at eBridge. All right, so backing out. I don't actually need to show you the full demonstration, but there are so many folks at eBridge that would love to dive in deeper. So I'll give my email address at the very end here. But just, I hope when you think of eBridge, you think of Microsoft certified, 25 years, all in-house, all 60 of us are in-house. And we have this universal platform that does EDI, e-commerce, CRM, and any APIs that potentially someone in your organization will need to use, and flow that data back to head office, Microsoft Dynamics ERP. And then back to the girl. I still don't know why she's upset, but the good news is whenever she's upset and she needs those gloves, your company, your sales team, your marketing team are making sure that your product is available where she wants to buy it. And so potentially the folks on the phone, your job is to make sure that the data from any one of those orders gets back to head office and gets accounted for. So hop on our website. It's ebridgeconnections.com. We have a button that says Start Planning. And at any time you can go on and see what we've done before with our customers, what workflows, what systems we've used before, and you can start planning at your own integration. Or you can just give me a call. It's Lindsay Hampson. I'd love to talk to you about how eBridge can help make your business more successful. And that's it. I'll pass it back to you, Jason. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay. And thank you to all of our presenters. Let me take back control here. So yeah, at this point, I do want to get to some of the questions that have come in. And if you haven't entered yours yet, this is the time. We are moving into Q&A here. And I'll try to rotate and give all of our presenters a chance to take a question or two based on what's coming in. Let me also, before I go any further, just put up that contact information again here. Feel free to just copy this down and follow up if you have a question that you want me to put to our various presenters after the fact. Just put it in the chat to me as the host. That's fine too. But yeah, let's get to some of those questions now. I'll start with Doug from Metafile. It's just asking, how do you pass the information to Dynamics AX?
Yes, we have some web services that are built for the push and the pull of information back and forth. So our interaction with Dynamics, one of the AX 2012, those are a lot of times are in-house, or like D365 that is Azure-based or web-based. In any of those cases, it's a standard web service that we have that communicates and exchanges information in both directions.
All right, excellent. Next question I have here is for Dennis. And the question is, we already have a solution in place with AX 2012, but we want to replace it. Can we use your solution, your system, while the other is running?
Absolutely, yes, you can. Because we sit outside, we don't mess with any of the integration points that they would currently have. So we'd be able to roll out trading partners at the same time that they're actually transacting with now. So we'll be able to, it'll be able to coexist.
All right. A question for Ryan, asking, how does the K-ecommerce integration work?
So that's a great question. With Microsoft Dynamics AX, both 2009 and 2012, we read information from the SQL database. And then when we're writing back to Dynamics, we will write back using the native business connector. The K-ecommerce solution sits outside of AX at all times, so we're never embedding, we're never adding any objects inside AX. And for D365, we're using the native web services that Microsoft made available to us with the development of D365.
Great. I'll put a question to Ian next. Well, it's a similar one, asking how the modules are integrated, and are they integrated?
Yeah, fair point. The modules are purpose-built within Dynamics 365, so they operate in terms of business architecture exactly like the other standard Dynamics 365 modules, seamlessly linked together, meaning they'll have posting profiles. They post through the project ledger through to the general ledger. They use common data services to integrate seamlessly to front-end customer service.
All right, thank you. A question for Lindsay, asking, we're starting to explore online sales channels like Amazon and Shopify Plus. Do you have any tips on that?
We've learned so much about all of the e-commerce platforms, Jason, over the years now. There's so many, and there's new ones coming up every day. So Shopify just released, well, actually not just, but a few years ago, an enterprise scale version of their platform called Shopify Plus. And then BigCommerce is now going toward enterprise as well, and I'm sure everyone's familiar with Magento. They were just purchased by Adobe. They have their own module even for B2B business. So every e-commerce platform out there is so different that we definitely are in a way Switzerland over here at eBridge, right? We work with all of them, but we can definitely sit down with a team and hear your let's say that your top 3 important points that you get out of a platform, and we would be really happy to suggest a few to look into. We also are certified in all of those e-commerce packages as well, so we could hook you up with somebody over there to really ask your deep technical questions. And then finally, we have a bunch of partners that are web agencies that develop these websites that can also help you pick. So all in all, we can help you. Just reach out, and I can definitely give you some advice.
Okay, excellent. And let me make a final call for questions here. I have one more in the queue, and it's a little more general one, so it's a good one, I think, to put out at this point. But if you do have any other questions, please do enter them now. And the last one is really asking about, well, the impact of process automation and in particular flow. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit here, but how is process automation, including newer technologies like Microsoft's own Flow offering, changing the way you plan the direction of your own solutions? And if everyone doesn't mind, I'd be interested to take input from each of you on this, and we'll maybe go in the same order, starting with Doug. Would you like to take a stab at that one?
Sure. Real quickly, I guess, you know, the way that with the process automation and the access to data and information and how it's all transpired kind of changes how we kind of offer the solution and being able to integrate. Like I said in my previous answer, you know, whether you're hosted or on site, you know, being able to, you know, with the Azure and, you know, D365 being predominantly hosted in the Azure cloud, being able to access things, you know, more efficiently through the cloud and through the networks as more and more companies get automated in that fashion.
All right, thanks. Dennis, do you have a perspective on that?
Can you actually repeat the question again? I'm sorry, Jason, because I was trying to catch up as you were talking.
So this company, they're looking at increasing process automation. They wanted to know how the demand for increased process automation is impacting the direction of your solution. They mentioned Microsoft Flow in particular, but I think that's just one example.
Right. So as I mentioned during the demonstration, process automation is extremely important to what we do. It's kind of, you know, it's built into the DNA of the product. So I had pulled up before the workflow scheduler, which allows us to automate every single EDI process that a company could get into. And what we've seen is a lot of companies, they have an electronic relationship with someone in their supply chain, but they don't want to touch these transactions manually, and they shouldn't have to. So processing and full automation is a key component of what we do, and it's extremely important. And we had built this into the product a while ago, so we were kind of ahead of it before, you know, Microsoft had kind of jumped on board with this thing. So right now it is currently in our product and has been for the last 3-4 years now, or last 5-6 years, I should say.
All right, excellent. Ryan, do you want to take a stab at this?
Yeah, it's a great question. As I talked about while we were going through the demonstration, you know, really every aspect of our business is really just built on automating the process of capturing orders, obviously, when we're talking about an e-commerce solution, but also when we talk about just automating the catalog creation, automating the process of getting all your information out of Dynamics, be it AX or 365, up to your website, so you're not having to manually maintain that information in 2 different locations. So it's really just what we've been based on since the beginning, since we've been doing this now for almost 20 years, and we continue to try to improve on that as we go, and we see that more and more companies are looking to automate the process of catalog creation as well as order creation. So we're keeping up with that at all times.
Great, thank you. Ian?
Hi, thanks. With our enterprise transformation clients, it really is the process automation allows them to focus on organizational design and transformation, which is they may have had a number of different legacy systems, and now with the process automation focusing around the customer or the client and the efficiencies and self-service around that client service, as well as the asset management, which is the process automation to supply chain and contract management. Am I still on mute?
No, we hear you.
I saw the red button there for a sec. It really does that. So where staff, we're doing a lot of the manual work, and now we've got that process automation. They can advance how they transform. And that's one of the real drivers that we're providing with the property management suite.
Great, thank you. Lindsay, anything to add?
Sure. I would definitely reiterate the process automation, but actually I have a different one, which is, it's really tightening our relationship with Microsoft. Anything new that's coming out, we have some face-to-face time. We get our technical team involved to really figure out how we can take the new things they're releasing and stream them down to our customers and make sure everything's quicker and more automated. And so that's, yeah, I would say that's where we're coming from here at eBridge.
All right, great. Well, I think we are going to end it on that note. We're at the top of the hour. I want to thank everyone in the audience for their questions, and to all of our panelists, thank you so much for taking the time and for taking us through so much material in an hour. Really a lot of fun for me to take in, I'm sure for our audience too. With that, we are going to start wrapping up. There's a quick survey for anyone still on the line to look for when you depart today. It'll give us a little bit extra feedback to let us know what you thought. We really appreciate any information you can share in that regard. We have recorded today's event. We'll be sharing that soon as well. And with that, I will just thank my panelists, the panelists once again, and let you know that concludes today's event. Have a great day, everybody.